Any other question? We
I
missed.
like, yeah, I like to know what is the difference between Upasana and Sandhya, or it can be combined or it's separate. When you do Sandhya, when you do Upasana.
Yeah. Very good and very relevant question in present time. Sandhya, if you see any slightly older book, it always says Sandhyopasana. So the word Sandhya was very specific. It is, it has the word Sandhya has two connotations. One is related to the timing, Sandhivela, and it has another connotation. You know, Sanskrit words sometimes have a multiple origin. So it has two kinds of twofold origins. So the other connotation is Samyak Purvak Dhyan. So Sam is a prefix, upsarg, and the main root is Dhyan, that is the word. Sam plus Dhyan, because this makar, ma, is facing dha, it takes the fifth letter of the word, ta, tha, da, dha, na. So ma becomes na, so to say. So sam plus dhya becomes sandhya. You know, these are very natural, you know, human vocal systems. So it's not that these are arbitrary rules. Sanskrit rules are very much following the natural sounds, etc. So sandhya has two meanings. Some function, something I wish to do at confluence of day and night, in the morning and in the evening. And what is it? Well performed meditation. Dhyan is meditation. Some means well performed, properly doing something properly, like Sanyog. Yog is union, Sanyog is well made, you know, proper union. When you have characterized both the parties properly. So some is always samyakate, means proper manner.
Mhm.
And as I said, Sandhya implicitly meant Sandhyopasana. So being with him, Upasana is up and asan. So the total meaning of the term is properly done meditation that leads to me being with him. You know, that was the main part. Now, Sandhya, Upasana is very well defined as Maharishi Dayanand writes in Rigvedadi Bhashya Bhumika. There is a chapter on Pratijna Vishaya towards the end where he is justifying why he is writing the commentaries on the Vedas. His nomenclature is Paramarthic. Paramarthic means he wanted to show that Vedas are the books of all true knowledge. So that is the way he was guided to write the commentaries. And then he is justifying why is he not writing on the basis of Karm Kand? Why is he not writing on Upasana theme? You know, so he's just justifying it. So in one paragraph, he is justifying that this commentary of mine, it means his, is not with Upasana as the mind, because Upasana has been well covered in Patanjali Yoga, in Sankhya, and in Upanishads. Of course, it is in the Vedas, but he's writing the commentary on the Vedas. So he's saying the rishis of the previous ancient times have already covered Upasana in a great detail. What I mean to say is, Upasana, according to him, is covered in Patanjali's treatise of Yoga and Kapil's Sankhya and in Upanishads. Now, when I have some other opportunity, that will be a separate topic sometime. This is a statement in Sankhya that Adhikajiti Bhedan. What he's saying is there are three types of students. You know, whenever a teacher is teaching, one students are very superior, one are average, and one are below average. So that is very well accepted. So there are three types of students, but his teaching, his teaching, he is writing this statement in a particular context that the moksha, the liberation that every human being seeks, the training and all those time requirement will be obviously different because there are three categories of students. In that sense, he is writing that statement. But his own book is basically for very superior class of people. At that time, all were very elevated persons. Now, when it comes to Patanjali's time, he wrote his book Yog Darshan for three categories of people. So his first chapter is Samadhi Path, which is covered Yoga, is for very superior people. And then he writes uh, Kriya Yoga in the second chapter at the start of it, so that the average people so can become qualified for the yoga for the first chapter, Samadhi Path. So he says Kriya Yoga is for what? Samadhi Bhavanarth. And Klesh Tanukarnath, what it means is, in the superior people, Klesh is very small. Now, these are technical terms, cannot go much into detail, but Kriya Yoga was to diminish Klesh so that you are qualified for the first chapter. Now, there is a third person below average, third quality. There, the Klesh has become Ashuddhi. So Klesh is generally, you are a nice person, but you are leading a materialistic life, like many Americans, They are good people, hardworking, honest, but they are not that spiritual in the sense what we are talking, attempting to be in liberation and such and such high things. They just want to live, enjoy their life, but they don't do anything unethical or immoral. Now there are third quality people, lower class, where Klesh has become Ashuddhi. Ashuddhi is impurities, where they harm others to gain something. Is it not? So for them, there is a yam and niyam, the moral code of conduct. So with third class of people, Patanjali is prescribing what is called Ashtang Yoga, where there is a prescription, how you interact with others, you be honest, you don't hurt others, ahimsa, satya, stay, vamchi. That sort of a teaching is there. Now I am talking about Ashtanga Yoga. Now the Ashtanga Yoga, our rishis have packaged it in a particular manner that is called Sandhya. So Sandhya is including all the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. So if you write at the start of it, Om Sanno Devi, that says that I wish to be with that Supreme Being under his shower of happiness, Sanyo Visavantuna. That is a overall, motivation to be in Upasana. That, like a child going to his mother's lap, as simple as that. So the sadhak is telling himself that I want to be with him when I will be away from all the negatives and I will have all the positives, what he called Abhishtay and Pitay. And then there is the Angasparsh and Mahajan Mantra. Mahajan is for purification of our sensory organs, etc. So these two are more in the direction of yam and niyam. I will take care of my cleansing, outer and inner clean. Then of course I am in asana, I am sitting in a posture. Then comes pranayam mantra when I do pranayam. So now asana pranayam. Then agmarshar mantra is pratyahar, which is trying to tell me wherever I go into the world, it is his world only, is it not? So the whole outer universe is nothing but his world. He is the maker, and I want to tell my mind, him only I want to meet deep inside my cave, is it not? So Agmashan month becomes like Pratyaha. Hmm? Sorry, yeah. Uh, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyaha. Yeah. Now it is Dharana. Now Dharana Dhyan Samadhi is called Antayang Yoga. So here it is now pertaining to my mind. Those 6 mantras from Atharvaved, I am now in my inner world. I say that in all directions, it is He only. He is the Adhipati, He is the Rakshak, and He can give me everything that I want. So my mind, I am trying to motivate my mind that if I am with Him, everything is nice. I acquire everything, whether it is knowledge, whether it is skill, all that my mind is interested in. I tell Him, if I go to Him, I will be blessed with everything. So that way, I am telling my mind not to seek out too many things in the mind or outside world, because the origin of all the nice things are from Ishwar, and that's where I want to go. But I have a condition that I must go alone. I cannot take you with me. And that's what I am trying to motivate my mind. You be calm so that I can disconnect from you. And that brings me to the point of Upasthan mantra, when I should be in dhyan. So Upasthan means now I am very close to him. Up and Sthan, I am very close to him. As if I have entered into White House, but I have just to go. Next is to enter into Oval Office. It is not. So something like you are waiting in the ante room, and then somebody opens that door. You are face to face with whom you wanted to meet. Then you recite Gayatri Mantra. So Gayatri Mantra is basically the Upasana Mantra, where you are you are visualizing that now your mind is enlightened, not with the bookish knowledge but with his light, what is called bharga. So you feel you have acquired that bharga, and that will now propel you in your day-to-day life for that. Now after reciting the Gayatri Mantra, you should now actually do the Upasana. That means you are now in meditation. So these mantras are actually preparing you to go in meditation. And then I think one should practice, I will say 10, 15 minutes. And at that point, it should be like mind is blank. So these mantras are actually bringing you to a meditative mood, so that your mind is not filled with worldly thoughts. That's what we were discussing about Brahma Muhurt, etc. What is so good in that? You are not at this point engaged with worldly functions. So there's a whole day for that. So you want to be exclusively with him only, and then to be with him has a very simple criteria. Your mind must be blank. If your mind has a thought, then you should realize you are with your mind. If your mind or chitta is displaying an image, something is there, something, then you are with your chitta. So chitta vritti nirodha is a very good statement that I am now with him, so to say, and not with the world. Once you are with your mind, you are with the world. So in the world, I want to be with my wife, my son, my daughter, my friend. All these intimate, even connections, are via body and mind. Even the closest relationship. But our relationship with Ishwar is unique, where mind is an obstacle, where mind must quieten down. With anybody else, even with my spouse, I will be with him or her via my mind always. You know, mind is always there. I will tell her, I think about you, I am filled with it. I may say I am from speaking from my heart, but my heart is the mind at that point. So this is a very subtle point. People miss it out, and it's good. There is a lot of interest in meditation, but we should be proud of our prescription that has come from rishis. That this Vedic Sandhya was literally, it is not just meditation. It can make you to be in upasana, and then you are so much filled with it, then what comes out is what is called samarpan mantra, where you basically thank him. you know Whatever I got from you in the last few moments, I am so grateful to you. And then namaskar mantra, you like you take leave from anybody, saying namaskar. So Sandhya has been very well designed, from Om Shanno to the steps. Climax is Gayatri Mantra, but then super climax is to be in Upasana with him. And it is very unfortunate that a number of people just recite these mantras and they think they have done Sandhya. I don't say it is waste of time. That is also good, the recitation of the mantras, but that is not meeting the purpose of Upasana. So we have to, you know, create an awareness in the community that people do upasana properly. It's a very frustrating exercise to try to bring your mind blank, but one has to start it. Any practice you have to start with. So this is what we are doing, as you might probably be knowing from last week, Friday, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. We are doing, we call it meditation, Patanjali meditation. But I, of course, always explain meditation as upasana. So that's why I say we are not only mindfulness, we are going to mindlessness. That mindlessness is very important. And for that to happen, I go through mindfulness when my mind is filled with the love and that feeling about the Ishwar. But now that also has to reach out to become disconnection from mind, you know.
Yes.
So you are welcome to attend that session also. It's just 20 minutes a week.
Oh, okay.
And my
Mhm.
aim is in about a year's time for an average person to bring a person to a point that for about 40, 50, or 60 minutes you can be in meditation, where I will say 50% time is your attempt to reach that state, and then 50% you are in upasana. So I think a number of people should be able to succeed in that. So this is a weekly thing, but of course I expect you to do daily practice, but learning is weekly.
Right.
I hope I have answered.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah. Very
answered
nice.
the
Yes.
question.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Is there any way to sit
I
longer
am
period of time?
my battery went off. I am able to. If you can write it, that will be better.
Oh, okay. Mhm. Mhm.
You may write your question if
Okay.
you open the chat box.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there any question?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wrote the question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, these issues we will take up in the Friday session.
okay.
At this point, we have said we are using just simple armless chair. You
Mm,
know. So I don't lay much emphasis on these Bahirang Yoga.
mm,
Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar are peripheral yoga.
mm,
Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi is inner yoga. So these are just enabling things.
mm,
So at this point, I have, for next 3 or 4 sessions, suppose I continue it for a year, I visualize just 1 or 2 sessions I will do uh, on the sitting on the floor, just for sake of completeness. Those who can are comfortable with those postures, Sukhasan, Siddhasan, etc., just to demonstrate them. Otherwise, I am doing all these sessions on a simple,
yeah.
armless chair
Mhm,
where we just want to sit comfortably like this. There is nothing, these are means, not the end. Asana pranayam is means. When you become proficient in meditation, then you will notice you will be skipping these steps. You just go straight into meditation. You know.
mhm.
Any other question?
Can you hear me?
I am not sure. Let's see. Let's see. I am increasing my volume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see if I can hear you now.
Okay. Uh, my one of the questions I had before in the Upanishad, they give an example of this horse and horse carriage that Atma is just a passenger and Buddha is the one who that actually makes the decisions and so guides the mind and that's what it takes you to the destination. So if the Atma is just a passenger, uh, it has no say, or or no, how does it guides the Atma, or where I need to go? This is what you need to do. Mhm. Did you hear me?
I think, let me understand. The question is about the analogy, as if Atma is a passenger in a vehicle and Buddhi is the driver, etc. What was
Right.
your last line? What was your question then?
The question is, so Atma has no say. Uh, that means Atma is just a passenger, and so how does it uh, communicates to the Buddhi that this is what I need to do? Like towards I need to proceed towards the moksha or whatever. So,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Okay.
um,
I
yeah.
slightly understand.
Mhm.
Let's see, we have now about 20 minutes. So, in that much time, how can I cover this question? Let's see. I will like to share a slide with you probably, and
Mhm.
that may help explain. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, here is a slide.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. So here, very quick, we won't go to the all the aspects. This is the Atma. You can see my cursor.
Yes.
So that is
Mhm.
the Atma, the passenger here.
Yes.
And these three boxes, the blue color, kind of square, rectangular, that is my mind, so to say, what is called Antakaran, inner instruments.
Mhm.
They have a name, the very close to me is Buddhi,
Mhm.
and this is my Ahankar,
Okay.
and this is Manas, Man, so to say.
Okay.
Now, Man is connected to my five sensory organs, and also 5 motor organs.
Mm.
Via these, I acquire knowledge, generally one at a time. So that is why this is a thin arrow.
Mm.
And I activate my motor organs, organs of action. Here there
Mm.
is a multiplicity. I can walk and hold something on my hand, speak also. So this is kind of a multitasking.
Mm.
That's why this is a thicker arrow.
Mm.
Now, typically a signal from sight organ is picked up by my manas, passed on to ahankar, and then he is projecting on my buddhi.
Mm.
Now, before he projects, he makes a copy of it for future reference. So this is where anything I have gained knowledge-wise, there is always memory stores it for a good time. And if I don't use it, it fades away. But otherwise, my mind always has a copy of it.
Mm.
Now, this is what is called buddhi, general.
Mm.
And this, what is called bondage, this is called Hidaya Granthi. They have been tied together somehow. Okay. This coming together, that is what is your passenger, and this is your driver. Hmm?
Right.
This is a very good analogy. It comes actually in the Yajurveda, the 34th chapter. Susarate Ashwanu Yan Manushyan Niyate.
Mm.
Then it has come in Kat Upanishad, also in Gita. This has become very well understood.
Mm.
Now, the way they are brought together, actually, this is made of matter, which is always going through transformation. That's why made of Prakriti called Parinami. It always goes through phases.
Mm.
And these fluctuations only make us feel happy and sad also, is it not? We go
Mm.
through all this because of fluctuation in this. This is what I am always watching. This is kind of my inner TV I am always watching.
Mhm.
Now, when I go to sleep, deep in sleep, if I am really in Sushupti, then this becomes blank.
Yes.
Otherwise, I may have dreams. When it shows
Mm.
up something from the memory, maybe just displays something haphazard. So when I was talking about meditation, for meditation purpose, this is given another name called Chitta. Why Patanjali gave it another name, I don't want to touch this now because that requires another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So let me postpone that.
Yeah.
So this has three names basically. It is also called Mahat, huh?
Mm.
But Mahat is a very general term because out of Mahat, all these things, the whole world will be made. Whole universe is made out of Mahat. A
Okay.
particular Mahat that is rich in Sattva is utilized as my Buddhi. So
Mm.
Buddhi is a very special Mahat which is rich in Sattva because it has to do my intellectual decision making. This is my discriminatory ability. Now, I am usually using it to reach some conclusions. Should I do this or that? Is it a chair or a table? So all these discrimination are done by Buddhi. But I'm giving you a now brief answer, Buddhi versus Chitta, but you will have to listen very carefully. Now, this has a very high potential of discrimination. Sometimes I may not use this potential. Particularly, think of meditation. If you have some practice of meditation, where you are watching this, you are not using it for any decision making or thinking or some sort of reaching a conclusion, but still something appears there, which is it is working in a very latent mode, you know,
Mhm.
and it is just bringing something from your memory,
Mm.
displaying it, but it
Right.
is not working at its full potential of buddhi.
Mm.
That is why Patanjali gives it a name as Chitta.
Yeah.
So let's stop there for why
Yeah.
it has three names, Mahat, Buddhi and Chitta. है ना?
Mm-hmm.
Now in meditation I am concerned with, because I am confronted with something is happening on this inner TV, which is like Chitta, and I want to diminish and switch it off actually,
Right.
so as to be with it. Now your question was, this is the passenger and this is the driver.
Yeah.
This link, which is
Mm-hmm.
called a Granthi, some superior force has tied up together.
Mm.
That actually is my bondage. And when I get liberated, then I will be disconnected from it for permanently.
Mm.
So that is what is called moksha.
Yes.
Now, this connection is very important to understand the nature of this bondage. This is aparinami, nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta. This just stays what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes through fluctuations, transformation.
Yes.
They are two different kinds. This is made of matter. This is non-material,
Mm-hmm.
but it has something like a light of consciousness, which is emitting.
Mm.
This has no consciousness.
Right. Right.
So the way they are tied together is that some of its property is passed on to, he begins to behave like a conscious being, begins to
Mm.
behave. He is actually not. Like at this point,
Yeah. This
see my
body. Yeah.
picture, my hand is going up and down.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, this person's hand is very conscious at this point.
Mm.
Is it not? But
Yes.
actually, my hands don't have consciousness.
Mm.
The consciousness is here.
Yes.
But he has lent his consciousness in part to his buddhi, and
Mm.
buddhi has let it permeate through all these connections, and eventually I am able to wave my hand like this, is it not?
Yes.
Now, the point I am emphasizing is the nature of this tying up together is very peculiar, so that this borrows some of this property. It
Mm.
seems like it doesn't borrow, but it appears that.
Mm.
That's why I am awake. I am very much like a conscious being now. But the body has no consciousness.
Yeah.
Similarly,
Very much.
mind has no consciousness.
Mm.
Consciousness is here. But that is the nature of this bondage, that this is somehow borrowed by it,
Mm.
and not forever, because even when I go to sleep, if I am in deep sleep, this has no consciousness. Is it not?
Mm.
So it just, as if my purush, this is also called as purush, it lends its consciousness when it wants to use body and mind.
Mm.
When I want to use it, so I get lend it. Now listen to this very carefully. Now the effect of this on that we are going to discuss, which is very important. Now this is called by Vyas, who is writing a commentary on Patanjali Yoga, as Buddhi Pati Samvedi. This term is very important. This is Buddhi. Prati is counter. Samvedi is to, to gain that knowledge. So what he is saying is, by the design of this bondage, this granthi, this tying is up, is of such a nature that whatever is displayed here is known to this.
Mm.
Then they give an example of, because this is aparinami, this can go through no change whatsoever. So this has to be described. What do you mean by he knowing this? So then they give an example, an analogy of crystal glass that is called mani, kusum.
Mm.
Then they say, if there is a mani and if there is a jasmine flower, flower is brought near that crystal glass. Crystal glass is pure, but its color it adopts the color of the jasmine flower.
Mm.
And when the flower is removed, then it is doesn't it comes back to its original color, is it not?
Mm.
So
Yes.
it doesn't change its character, but
Mm.
it appears it has picked up the color of the flower.
Mm.
So that is very important to understand the nature of this bondage. That
Mm.
whatever appears on this inner TV screen
Mm.
is known to it, is known. The word is important. He
Yeah.
knows it.
Mm.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
listen to the next part very carefully now. This is called the Buddhi Vritti, which he has become aware of. Anything that happens here, now you cannot say, I saw him, but I didn't notice him. You know, that we sometimes in our worldly context, we say, I heard a sound, but I was not listening to it.
Mm.
But if the sound has reached here, you are bound to listen.
Mm.
If your sight signal has reached here, you are
Mm.
bound to see it. So
Yeah.
whatever happens here is definitely known by you. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Now, whatever happens here has originated because of something, your desire to learn. Like at this point, your buddhi is displaying the words that I am speaking out, is it not?
Mm.
Then you are discriminating, making sense out of it, and so on and so forth. You are quite aware of it. You are alert and knowing it. Now, this is buddhi pratisamvedi. This has to happen. Now, this is, you have come here to attend this class session to learn something, is it not? That was your desire. Now, suppose other than learning, hearing a word, let's say I am eating some food now and I pick up the taste of it. Okay. Now, the taste also comes up to this point, and then I say, yes, this tastes exactly the way it should taste it. But
Mm.
suppose now I trying to explain to you the difference between I eat to live and I live to eat. Hmm?
Mm. Mm.
Sometimes
Mm.
I like to eat food for the taste of the food,
Yes.
for the taste of the food, because I have a craving. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, this middle unit, which is my storage device, it doesn't store only the knowledge of the past knowledge. It experiences the past experience also
Mm.
and past actions also.
Yes.
I am not again going into this detail,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
the craving, the last time I had that particular dish, which I enjoyed very much, I enjoyed its taste, that is
Mm.
also stored here. And since I enjoyed it here, it is sitting here as a sanskar, as vasana
Mm.
sanskar.
Yeah.
And if I am driven by not by hunger, but by the taste of the food, now remember this, what is the driving force? Am I eating for nourishment or am I eating for taste of the food?
Mm.
If I am eating just for the nourishment, that's a different story. Now
Mm.
you consider I am eating some dish which I enjoy and I am eating it for the sake of the taste.
Mm.
The taste is here.
Yes.
That is called vasana. That is one
Mm.
of the clash, rag it is.
Okay.
Now, when that is the driving force,
Mm.
now when I eat food, the taste buds send signal like this. It comes here. I know the taste because I am buddhi pati samvedi. But
Mm.
since I had the craving, now that buddhi vetti has become bhog vetti. That is very important because I wanted genuinely to enjoy the taste of the food.
Mm.
Now, when does buddhi vetti become bhog vetti? That becomes when I let the buddhi vetti fall on myself.
Mm.
You know, that
Mm.
is because of my ignorance. Actually, I was just buddhipati samvedi. That's the way I was designed. But now I am, it's like, okay, just in 2 minutes, very quick, I will explain it. Sometimes you listen to a TV news in a detached manner.
Mm.
Now you are watching a TV serial and you have tears in your eyes. You have almost become part of that TV program.
Mm.
Now you are no more detached. You are participating in that event.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, very routinely, all these kind of signals from the outside world and from your storage device keep coming here, whether you want or not want them.
Mm.
Now, by very routine design, you are buddhi sapati samvedi, so you become aware of them.
Mm.
But when you don't maintain that detachment, you know,
Mhm.
like when you are watching TV news, you are quite detached. But when
Mm.
you are watching TV serial, you are
Mm.
quite attached to that.
Mm.
When you become like that, you are allowing. Now you cannot blame your mind or anybody. You allow this buddhi vritti to become bhog vritti.
Mm.
Then you become get sukh or dukh. Otherwise, you are away from sukh and dukh.
Mm.
That okay. Now, when this has become sukh and dukh, bhog vritti, now that also leaves an impression here.
Mm.
So your cravings are, you are adding layers after layers.
Mm.
Now, even a good person, in another context, I said three kinds of people are there. So even the average, they are good people. They are not doing bad anything, but
Mm.
they are driven by forces so as to acquire the objects of pleasures of life. They
Mhm.
want to build a good house, new car, all these assets,
Yes.
for them, for their family, and
Mm.
take away whatever is painful.
Mm.
So all their actions they are not niskam karma, they are sakam karma,
Mm.
so as to gain pleasures and diminish pain. Is it not? Very
Yes.
normal thing.
Yeah.
When they do this action, then their law of karma ledger is filling in.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they have to take birth again because
Yeah.
this has a lot of balance here.
A lot of stories. Yes.
So now coming to your question of moksha,
Mm.
first is you have to perform action, but they have to become higher order.
Mm.
That brings you like a devata, like as a
Mm.
mother works for her child without expecting anything in return.
Mhm.
So when you perform action as if I am doing just because that Ishwar expects me to do it.
Yeah.
So your actions are for as if dedicated to him. That is
Mm.
called a Ishwar Pranidhan.
Okay. Mhm.
When your actions are like that, then they are not making in the ledger book.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is no new entry. But there are old entities, which is called Klesh and Avidya. That's why the bondage took place. Now that has to be burnt, and that is burnt by means of Samadhi love. So in Samadhi, the seeds are burnt out, bij dagdvat. Now when all the seeds are burnt and no more new ledger entry, then you are eligible for mukti.
Mm.
So otherwise you are in this vehicle, you are passenger, he is the driver and these are the horses and this is the ropes. So all that analogy is working
Mm.
and this is an unending journey. Not
Yes.
only this journey, but birth and life, death are cycling,
Mm. Mm.
keeps on happening.
Yeah.
So this meditation and upasana is not just for getting away from stress and nice, cool, calm life. This is the only way you can burn the seeds of avidya, and this is the only way you can get mukti. And somehow in the literature, there is a lot of confusion as if there are other paths also. No, this is the
Mm.
only